Welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto and NFTs every day. I have Yogi from Tinytap. And if you are a parent, if you're somebody who's excited about education, Web3, this interview is for you. So Yogi, let's go ahead and get straight into it because I know we're on completely different sides of the world. What is Tinytap?
Well, not that far away. I'm in Brooklyn today.
Oh, okay.
Not that far. But I'd love to share with you what Tinytap is all about. Tinytap today is a leading user-generated platform for educational material created by teachers. So teachers create their own interactive courses using our authoring platform and sell it directly to parents. So we're offering educators alternative means of income, not to be completely dependent on the traditional education system, and empowering them to be a fair player in the interactive world of teaching.
I absolutely love that. And I know we had a brief conversation earlier, is that when I was in high school, I had some personal things I was going through. So I did 9th and 10th grade at a regular high school, but then my junior and senior year, I wanted to go to an alternative school. And the reason why is I wanted to work, I wanted to start college. And the alternative schools we had way back in the day were completely different. There was no online and you still had to follow a very strict curriculum. But I feel like Tinytap is a great solution for people who want to kind of homeschool, but learn on their own terms and maybe pick different teachers' curriculums. Is that kind of accurate as to what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's many reasons why you would want an alternative education system. Sometimes what you have nearby, like where you live, isn't good enough. Sometimes private school is simply too expensive, and it shouldn't be that way because of the internet, it's scalable. So if you have a talent on one side of the world, there's no reason why they can't scale their talent and teach kids all over the world.
I agree with you 100% on that. And also too, I'm born and raised LA County. Most of the schools here are 3 out of 10s. And unless you have enough money to send your kid to private school, it gets a little bit complex. So this seems like a very interesting solution. So what is Tinytap's mission?
And so our mission is to basically reduce the dependency of teachers on the traditional education system, both the teachers and the parents, and connect them directly, connect the teachers with the talents, with parents who need access to that. And we did start with early childhood. That has been our first big market where we found success. We're generating millions of dollars from parents subscribing to access teachers' content and are able to share some of that revenue with teachers. But the reality, the bigger mission has always been to offer the world an independent curriculum, a full curriculum from early childhood through university that anyone can pick up and teach himself anything. That has always been the mission.
So is it going to be free for students, or do they have to compensate the teachers for their curriculum? How will that work?
So actually Web3 offers us new opportunities to fund access to content. So today some of the content is free and you need a subscription to access premium content. So teachers can actually receive access revenue for their content. One model is the subscription. Another model is if you're an individual that creates a bundle of games, you can sell it directly as a course at whatever price it works for you. Then you can find your money fit. You can decide that the courses cost $1 in India, or it can cost $40 in the US, depends on how you're successful at selling it. And of course, you can also offer content for free as a way to promote your other content. On Web3 specifically, we have the opportunity to create new ways for people to invest money in education and knowing that it's going to go towards education. So basically, if you think about philanthropy today, when people invest $1 million towards, teaching mathematics to kids in the Bronx, they want that to happen. But the only alternative they have for that to happen today is to give it to some kind of nonprofit organization and hope that it doesn't go all to salaries and operation. But on blockchain, you can use the trust and the transparency to make sure that money flows directly to the students without any intermediate in between. So I think that's a really great way to help people support the community and offer free education.
That was actually going to be my next question, is how will Web3 revolutionize the education space? And it really, what you said seems to me that it's really going, that Web3 is going to help decentralize the education space, because people will get to pick and choose what teachers they resonate with. Because I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, there's a couple of teachers I didn't really get along with really well. And it was all face-to-face. And sometimes it's kind of scary going into class, knowing that you might not get along with the teacher and your grades at stake. So this is a great way. And on top of it, I think this is a great way for teachers who have traditional jobs in a regular school. This is a great way for them to make additional income because at least in the United States, teachers aren't always paid what they're worth.
Yeah, look, it's not just about teachers being scary, although some of them are scary and we all have that picture in our mind. It's also about the teaching style. So maybe I'm a textual learner and I'm okay with someone writing on a blackboard for an hour, but maybe I like someone who demonstrates that with videos and interactive and I can be part of the lesson. We keep sending our kids to the traditional education system, expecting them to wait to sit there for 40 minutes, hearing a grown-up speaks about something that doesn't interest them, when we know that we can do that as well. We can't listen to someone boring for 40 minutes. So the power of Web3 is to stop complaining about the education system and take control of it. So having the educators own the content, but also you and me and anyone who care about education can come and buy ownership of educational content or publishing rights. And by that, we are the one who are deciding where the funding, where the budget is going to go. And that's how we're going to create an alternative education system that is owned by educators and the community.
How do you plan to move the current education system from Web 2 to Web 3?
So today we're already decentralizing education in a way, in the sense that we're giving teachers opportunities to create content and share it directly. But honestly, Web 2 direct-to-consumer models are very complicated. And there's a lot of money that goes to marketing and promoting that content. And we can only reach so many countries. We're only 25 people in Tel Aviv. But once you get the community involved, you can get them to own part of the action, own and support the content that they care about. And by doing that, they're going to offer funding to educators. So imagine you have a piece of content that generates $10,000 a year. And suddenly you're putting it up for sale, publishing rights. You're looking for a publisher to join you. And if someone joins you, then they become co-publishers with you. And together now you have a shared incentive to push it. So instead of having 25 people who pushing all this project forward, we're imagining having 1,000, 10,000 people who own the content and own the system and can think of creative ways to promote it. So I think Web3 is great for funding. It's great for community marketing promotion. That's the biggest advantage that we can think of right now.
I agree. How many learning games made by teachers and publishers worldwide do you guys have currently?
So we are focused on the early childhood education now, and you have content that ranges all the way through high school, but in reality, our focus and the way we curate content and organize it is geared towards younger audience, so like 2 to 8 years old. And you'll find about 200,000 pieces of games. Wow. Out of them, we consider about 40,000 to be really high quality games that we curated and promoted and featured. And that also splits between languages. So the top languages for us would be English, Arabic, Hebrew, Spanish is a big language.
Yay, good.
Yeah, Mexico is great. It's a huge market. I think every market that is under addressed, like think about it, most of the content in the world is created towards where you can find money. So it's going to be English content and math content towards the US market. Right. And so with Tinytap, anyone can create content that their community needs in their language about the topics that they care about. You can create a course about how to really create this amazing YouTube channel that you've worked on and maybe inspire a new generation to do so.
Awesome. No, that makes me excited for my daughter because she's in first grade and she's got a Spanish test today. So I'm thinking, how could I get her? I'm going to bring her over to Tinytap because she's very interested in playing games. We're very limited with what we allow her to play, but if they're educational, if they're in Spanish, it will help her school or music or math. I am with it. And eventually you guys going to be focusing more on college once you get the kindergarten and the junior high stuff sorted.
Yeah. So to do that, we've developed courses, which is a way to basically bundle content towards a specific goal. So we have something more structured. And the idea is like that. We're going to offer eventually people the opportunity to own ownership, to get ownership in subjects. So you can get an ownership in Spanish learning as a subject. And then the people who create the content can work with you to publish their content on your subject. And together we all have a shared interest to create a full curriculum and fill it piece by piece, so we can identify missing skills. So we're starting with early childhood, but as a company, the next projects we're going to work is going to be more vocational, more general skill courses, because we want to kind of introduce those options in Tinytap. And we invite anyone who's listening and have ideas for content that they want to create we have our own studio and we work with people to help them create the best experiences on Tinytap. So please reach out.
I was actually going to ask you to compare the centralized curriculum that we have now to Tinytap's decentralized model, but you kind of already have done that. And it just sounds like people are able to pick and choose what.
No, not completely. I'd love to expand on that.
Okay.
So I think today when you go to school, you have a very specific set of curriculum that you go through that. But going back to the teacher you mentioned earlier, on Tinytap, we imagine that if you have a subject like fractions, then you may have one course that someone created about that, and that's a great course. But if that course doesn't end up teaching you, like you don't know fractions, there's no point of you moving forward to the next topic. Instead, we're just going to give you another course from a different teacher. We have the opportunity to have 1,000 courses on fractions until something really resonates with you and learning what you need. So it's not just a linear curriculum, but it's also a horizontal, sorry. Okay, sideways.
No. Yeah, no, I totally get it. And I guess my last question, because we're talking about Web3, and anytime I hear Web3, NFTs come to mind. They go hand in hand. So talk to us about NFT co-publishing model with both the creators and the promoters getting a share of the revenue. It also sounds like you mentioned something about IP rights when we're talking about the publishers.
Yeah, so I think what we're doing here is we're on a mission to really understand the correct publishing model for NFTs. So we just happen to be in education, but we're pioneering the model that in a way that we think makes sense, and that is to look at the publishing industry. So the publishing industry, if you have a book that you've created, you go, you find a publisher, their job is to kind of promote your content, and then they share the revenue with you. And so we're going to use the same model on Tinytap, whereas we're already selected 12 courses for our first NFT auction that we're going to announce very soon. And those content are already generating revenue. So this is a new kind of digital asset. This is not a PFP, it's not a utility NFT. It's an actual content that people are paying to access. And you have the opportunity to kind of support the teacher and buy publishing rights to that content. And when you do that, when you hold that publishing rights, then forever, in perpetuity, you will be entitled to revenue generated from promoting that content. So you can imagine buying a course today about Spanish, about learning Spanish for second graders. And maybe today it's making 10K a year, but as the platform grows, it can grow in revenue. And maybe you have the wits on how to promote it because you have a great YouTube channel, you want to promote that content. And then so many other people come and use it and suddenly generate so much revenue. So it's really like owning a mini business while supporting the content you care about, supporting educators so they can further create content.
I absolutely love it. Thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time. Audience, if this is something you're interested in, I highly recommend you take a look at Tinytap, you do your due diligence, you go ahead and you join their communities and you ask questions. I think that this is actually very, very awesome. And I always look for like educational solutions for my family, because I may want to go ahead and pull my daughter out of school and put her into she's in private school, but pull her into homeschool. We don't know how things are going to go, but thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about Tinytap. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and good luck in the test.